Welcome back to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus Wiley. About to talk about the homie Charles Barkley. Ah, man, Chuck. What the Chuck are you talking about? That's at least what Kenny Smith had to say about him. The Jet was looking at him crazy. As you guys know, they covered the tournament on CBS. And I love watching it because I've been there before when all of a sudden they want you to do the grand event. You're used to just doing the NBA, right? And that's your zone. And you know everything about it. Upside down, upside down, upside down. Then they flip you upside down and say, oh, we want you to do the college tournament. You're like, how many teams? 64. Oh, man, that's all right. I'm sorry, 68. They moved up to 68 now, right? And you're like, what the hell? And it's so funny to watch Charles Barkley over the years get better. But boy, who knows what's going on in Farley Dickinson, right? Like, what the hell Charles Barkley going to talk about Farley Dickinson? So it always goes this way. All right, so Gumble starts off and he's talking. Then he passes to Clark Kellogg, who knows everything, right? And then he goes to Kenny the Jet Smith because Kenny is real technical with his because he wasn't a superstar like Chuck. So obviously he kind of gets into the mental game a little more, and he just knows how to play it off, plus he coaches, etc. Then they finally passed the ball to Chuck. Every time they used to pass the ball to Chuck, he had a story. Like they talking about Farley Dickinson and Florida Atlantic, whoever the hell, like some random teams. And Chuck like just gonna talk about his life or talk about his story. Oh, it was a good game, right? And you can just see through it like, Chuck, you ain't prepared for this moment. But now he's a lot better. But every now and then he goes back to his old ways. And so Chuck was telling a story about when his team, because he said, I'm so old, I was in the league when we used to fly commercial. And I was like, all right, interesting. And I couldn't imagine flying commercial. Like you literally walking in the airport and you're sitting there at gate 36B. And you imagine that? You're just sitting there like, oh, there go Charles Barkley. Oh, matter of fact, they go the whole 76ers team, and they just sitting there waiting for the flight like you. Flight delay, they waiting for you, like you. It's crazy. So that's how it used to be in the NBA, he said. But that wasn't even the craziest part. So they get on the plane with you guys, and they're like, excuse me, I got the middle seat. I'm Charles Barkley, and you sitting next to Charles Barkley on the commercial plane. I don't know how they did it back then, but they used to do it. This dude went even further with the story. He was saying how because it was just low economics back in those days, commercial flights, etc., that they used to leave the game and shower in their uniforms. I'm going to say it again. Game over. Walk in there. Reporters are trying to get in there. Not yet. We got to shower first. Leave your uniform on and then shower with your uniform on, soap included on the uniform, because that's how your uniforms got washed. And then from there, go into the locker room, hang up your wet uniform so it can start the process of drying before you got to get on that commercial flight again if it's a road game, right? Because they didn't have the laundry system like we have now. Like now you fast forward, golly, you could have on a wristband and sneeze, achoo, right? Somebody gonna run up to you and take your wristband off and replace it with another one and start washing that one right there on the spot. It's crazy. Like, it's a whole different animal right now. But he said when he played, shoot, whatever you wore, and I've heard these war stories before in football. Like, they had 2-a-day practices. Your first practice, you go out there, you're sweating, you bloody, whatever it may be. Put that thing up. Hang it up. You got a few hours before the next practice. Oh, by the way, P.S., you wearing that uniform too in that second practice. I was like, golly. That's when they had second jobs and, there was no off season because you was working at UPS as well. So Charles Barkley telling this story and Kenny the Jet looking at him like, you lying. Like he was just like, dog, I get it. We got to find ways to fill this segment out because we all don't know everything about Princeton. But, dog, you lying right now. And Chuck kept pushing back like, no, I'm not lying. And it's interesting because obviously Chuck is older than Kenny. So I'm like, maybe Chuck did catch a little of that old era, like the old school, OG bricklaying era where, damn it, you imagine that you had to actually shower with your uni on. So that means the dirt from the uni is going on you, but you cleaning the uni. So when you get out the shower, did you really shower? Took me back to a few stories I got to tell y'all, I got to share with y'all. So every team I was on, there was always one or two dudes. Kind of like Tommy and Martin. You were just like, what does he do? Where does he work? How does he get his money? Well, we were always like, are these guys really showering? They were kind of like our Tommies. We couldn't figure out, were they showering? Because every time you come in for practice, they will be walking out already dressed, going to their car. And I'm like, nah, dog. You just heard the horn at 3 o'clock. Horn, right? You walking in, it's about 3:04 or something. They are coming out, getting in their car. I'm like, ain't no way they finished practice, got dressed, took a shower too in 4 minutes. So we used to always clown like, dog, you ain't showering, you ain't showering. Cats be like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Y'all out there talking and lollygagging and woofing. We out here time to move. And I would never catch them because I could never get in the locker room that fast. But we had a couple on every team that we swear was skipping showers, right? And I used to laugh at that. I used to laugh at the reporters because there were some meat watchers, we used to call them. Like they used to look at your meat. No lie. It was a dude and this young lady. I remember these two in particular. It was this real big fat dude. And he used to always sit there and he used to write. See, I thought he was taking a hell of a lot of notes. He's smart, actually. I've seen this before. So he's writing. He's like listening to you. He's like, yeah, so what happened in the game third quarter? And what he was really doing, if you could catch his sight line, see, he's smart. He doing his notes like this, but he really gazing through the notes and he looking behind at somebody walking. And I used to watch. We used to sing this song, The Watcher. Remember by Dr. Dre, The Watcher? And he go, Watcher. So when he used to he start off with his notes like this. So yeah, did you get that sack? Oh, they gave you credit for it? That was great. Good job. Then after that sack, the momentum changed in the game. And you will notice he's still writing, but them eyes is peeking back there to look at me. And we used to be like, what the hell? So then everybody in the locker room, we didn't want to clown the dude. We didn't know his sexual orientation. It ain't that serious. We were clowning because he just kept trying to sneak it in, and that pad kept getting higher till he looking right through it. And we used to go, The Watcher. And he never caught it because he didn't listen to Dr. Dre. But we knew what we were talking about. That and this young lady, she was pretty obvious. She didn't care. Because I guess she was like, what y'all going to say? Because if y'all say something about me, then I'm going to say something about y'all. Like, if y'all say that I'm looking at y'all, then I'm going to say that you guys were trying to mess with me or harass me. I don't know what. But we were sitting there in this little stalemate like, yo, she really not tripping. And we weren't tripping either. So a lot of little stories like that, man. And it just took me back to see that. Only other one that I would tell you guys is we used to wear all white pants in Buffalo. Let's just say if you ever had to go in that nervous number 1 or number 2 right before practice, we all been there, right? The nervous one. Oh, I got to go to the bathroom right before you got to do something. Let's just say that the Michelin man, the Michelin tires, the streaks. I've seen that before on some uniforms. Streaking! Like, guys, I'm like, dog, you need to do a Charles Barkley. Take your nasty ass back in that shower and rinse off with your uniform on. And I can't even lie, y'all. Y'all know I protect the guilty unless it's myself. I've been a victim of that before, too.